Hi race fans, welcome back to Rauscher Racing Weekly, where we have just gotten back from Red Bluff's points race number 10.
Yep.
So, again, this week, as you'll see, we had a few setbacks. We had a few steps forward with Evan in qualifying, driving more aggressively, which I was happy to see.
Yeah, he looked really good. I was proud to see him pushing as hard as he could in qualifying.
Right. Yeah, that's the hardest I've seen him drive this car in general. But Brent didn't qualify last, but it wasn't what isn't his greatest effort. I think he's still learning the dirt.
And poor tire choice.
Yeah.
He wanted to try something and it didn't work out so well.
Right.
So.
Right. You don't know unless you try, right?
Exactly.
So.
And that was his words. We won't know if we don't try it. So we tried it and he goes, we're never doing that again.
Right. So all in all, the weekend for Evan could have been better. For Brent, probably could have been better too. You know,
yeah.
I mean, obviously we didn't bring home first place, which is what we're striving for. But we're getting closer. We're finishing more races. Evan, as you'll see, didn't get so lucky as we had some Gremlins pop up that he hadn't had in his car yet. So,
yeah, those Gremlins can be a pain in the butt to chase down, figure out exactly what it is, of course, because we're not in the car. We're going off of what they're saying.
Right.
And
they're both young. They're still learning.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's our motto. We never lose, we learn. Because every time they buckle their butt in one of these things, you have to learn. You have to be willing to learn, whether it be how to drive the car, set up the car. When the car breaks, why did it break? Yeah. When I felt that, did I feel it coming on? You know, and could have prevented it.
And one of those other deals is, can I fix it while they're pushing me to the hot pit?
Right, exactly.
Can I reach what I think it might be? Can I tell the guys, hey, this is what I think it is?
Right. Yeah, because when they push these guys into the hot pits, we're clueless.
Yep.
You know, obviously if a car is going down the straightaway and it quits, we're like, okay, you know. At that point, did we burn a piston? The weather changes down there so much from day to night. You know, in a two-stroke, you're jetting these things constantly. Even with Brent's engine in the four-stroke, it's
back and forth.
It gets picky on what it wants.
Not only that, this weekend they had doors at the other end of the building that are normally not open.
Right. So the atmosphere inside the building was completely different.
Yep.
Way more dry than I've ever seen at this time of the year there. So
yeah. Well, normally it's raining too. Normally it's the rainy part.
Right.
But
yeah,
knock on wood, we haven't been drowned with the rain yet.
Right. Yeah. You guys have been lucky. We've been there. But I hope you guys liked this week's racing and enjoy the show.
Racing Weekly. We're just pulled up to Red Bluff for points race number 10, also known as the Vern Wheeler Memorial. And one thing I wanted to point out on the track is that berm right now in 3 and 4 where we're at, it's really big. So hopefully they might knock it down. They probably will not. But besides that, the track looks pretty good. I think I pulled pill number 18, so I should go out in like the first couple groups, I think, hopefully. So, yeah, Brent talk now.
Yeah, as Evan said, he goes out really early, which would be really good for him, but I pulled pill 89, which with the track, it looks super wet right now, so that could be good for me. It could be bad. Right now it's a 50-50. But another thing on the racetrack, it's like really flat and then it goes up in the banking. So that'll just be a thing to watch out for if you're throwing sliders and the crease comes in later in the night. So once the crease comes in later in the night, which I'm sure it will, you'll have to be careful throwing sliders, both in 1 and 2 and in 3 and 4. Next up, I think you'll see me on the track for qualifying.
There will be one driver at the end. It'll be Evan Gallardi, who unfortunately missed the pole draw here. He's doing one lap at the end here.
guys just got out of the car for qualifying. The car, it, to be honest with you, sucked. It wasn't good at all. It was really, really tight. Didn't want to drive up the corner. Halfway down the straightaway, it took off, but it didn't want to instant go off. So we're gonna make adjustments for the heat race. We roll off, I think 8, and I think they take 5. There's 18 of us scheduled to race. Let's go see if we can put it in the show.
How was your qualifying?
So it was pretty, I wouldn't say it was pretty good. It was decent though. Qualified 13th out of 21, and that puts me starting 3rd row inside on the first heat race. So one of the better starting spots I feel like I've had this year in a heat race. So hopefully I can just transfer out and not have to run a B tonight.
out of the car from the heat race. We jetted the car. We didn't rejet the car, so it ran fat in the pavilion, but it ran fine out here. All of a sudden, mid of the season, it decides to get warm outside. So either we're in the feature. According to my race pass, it said they were taking 5, but I don't know for sure. So either we're up front in the B or we're towards the back in the feature. But I know for a fact I didn't do my job inside the car, especially in 4. On one of the restarts, I was on the car's bumper and I was on the clutch and I was cleaning it out, and I let the clutch out and I went I didn't know if it was because I didn't clean it out, but I knew it wasn't that I was not cleaning it out on that restart, because I freaking revved it to the moon and it still didn't go. So nonetheless, we made it probably to the feature, but if we didn't, oh well, we'll make it through the B. So either see you in the feature or the B. So
just unloaded the trailer here on Sunday morning. Brent's still sleeping, but I got up and I've washed my car and everything already. And so I'm gonna run you what kind of happened through last night. So when we fired me up to go for my heat race, I started the third row inside. I only had to pick up one spot to be in the transfer. And I warmed my car up, everything was all good. And when they went to go push me out on the track and the quad was pushing me, my car wouldn't lock into gear for some reason. So I didn't get to run my heat race because it wouldn't lock into gear and fire up. So we went back to the trailer and tried to find a way to start me up, and we did. So to start me up, we had to go down the long asphalt strip, and I would sit in neutral, and then once we got going fast enough, I would pull it up into third gear and it would fire up. So we did that, and then we tried to figure out if there was another way we could do that would be easier, but we found out that there was not. So we just did what we had to do, and then that would have put me starting fourth or third for the B main, I believe, is where I started. And so we fired me up like we did on the asphalt, and then I just drove up there and I waited and I drove onto the track so the quad didn't have to push me off. And then my race was going pretty good. The outside got a pretty good jump, and then I fell back to fourth, but then we kind of single filed out, and I kind of started running away from fifth. And then I started making a couple mistakes and stuff, and then going down the back stretch, all of a sudden my car just starts doing some weird stuff and dies. So I pulled off the track so I didn't get clobbered. So that ended my night, didn't get to transfer to the A. When that happened, I think there was only like a few laps left to go. I would have transferred too, but it is what it is. So now we're gonna load up and take it back to my house and tear it all apart and see if we can find whatever happened to it. And yeah.
Welcome back, guys. I'm here to talk about my main event. I started 10th, didn't get the greatest of starts, fell back a couple spots. I was working back up to 10th, and I threw a slider, and it didn't quite hold, and I thought I was going to flip because there was a rut, and I hit it with the right rear in 1 and 2. So it was kind of hard to hit that slider there. He drove back underneath me, and we raced into 1, and he got me back. And then we got a restart, and then I was on the top, and I was supposed to go to the bottom, but I went to the top because I knew who was behind me, and I knew how many laps we had left. And then I got a good restart, and then we were racing hard. And then later in the race, it was kind of like really hard to try and make moves, especially because if you didn't have a run, you couldn't really do anything. And then on a late race restart, I went back to the outside, put the kid next to me on the bottom, and he didn't get the best run off the corner, but he was able to get to the top side and slid me in 3 and 4. And then on the white flag lap coming to the checkered, as you seen, the 100 car spun out, and the kid in front of me hit him, and I was able to squeak on by and almost hit the wall, but we were able to get across the finish line. So overall, I think our night went overly well. I was very happy of where we ended up inside the top 10. Now we are sitting 11th in points. We are trying to crack the top 10 before the season ends, and we have 2 more races to do so. So let's go see what we can do for the last 2 points races.
Evan, it's been a few days since we talked to you last. What have you found? You've been working on your car. What have you found that might have been an issue on Sunday?
Yeah, so how I said on Sunday when I was cleaning my car that we thought it was electrical, and we got home and we tried and we put on our old coil and our old CDI box, and nothing seemed like our old one worked, but the engine wasn't happy. So when I went to go stop and I would let the clutch out, it acted like the car had reverse and it would just back up all of a sudden. So we pulled off the CDI box that was on my car, and we cleaned it up and we looked at it, and we found 2 broken wires, and 2 more of the wires were about to break. So we're gonna see if we can fix that one up, and we're also gonna order me a new one. And then for the car not locking into gear, we pulled my clutch out, and we found out that it's pretty hammered, so we're gonna have to get a new clutch along with the CDI box to hopefully that will fix my gear not locking into gear. And when we came out here today to look at what was going on with my clutch and everything, we looked on the ground and we found a wet spot underneath it. So right now we're draining the fuel tank, and we're going to pull it out and send it with my uncle, and he's probably going to drop it off at Protofab, and they'll probably have to fix it up again.
For people who don't know what a clutch is, what does it mean to not have a clutch for you?
So with the clutch, it's just like one of the ones that is in your car. Before you have to shift, you have to push it in, then you can shift. Besides, on these things, you just pull up into gear, and then when you go to get push started off, you pull the lever right here, and then so when you're racing, it's super nice to have, because especially with the 2 strokes, you have to keep it up on the pipe and in the power range, so then the car doesn't bog down and die. But on a 4-stroke, you don't have to have it as bad. Most of the time, you don't use it in a 250 or 450, I feel. I never drove a 450, but when I drove the 250 at Red Bluff, I never used the clutch really. And so without a clutch, you really can't race at all. I mean, if it starts going bad, you might be able to get through the night, but you won't be able to make a whole night with it.
Welcome back to Mom's Corner. I'm Samantha Rauscher.
And I'm Kim Rauscher.
And you just saw points race 10. You saw that there is some mechanical failure this weekend with Evan, unfortunately.
Just a little.
So his weekend was up and down and a little short, unfortunately, but it happens. I mean, that is racing. At the end of the day, we're not video gaming, so sometimes that happens.
Right? Yep. So he's got 2 major problems with his car. So we're going to have to put a new clutch in his car, and then he'll also have to get a new CDI box. So the electronics went out in his car as well. So you see him nosedive on the track, and that is why his electronics cut out. So yeah, that's what's going on with Evan this week.
Yeah. So how is it kind of for you to have one racer on the track, one racer off the track? Kind of, usually they're both on at the same time. It's pretty rare to have this consistent half and half.
Yeah, it is. Usually, we've always been both kids at the track, so this is the first time. So it is weird sitting at home and watching my kid race. I can't breathe, just like I'm at the track. I can't breathe while I'm watching him race. It's very odd. So I'm trying to get used to it. So yeah, because like I said, Blake has sworn off Red Bluff until nationals. So, but you know, it is an odd experience just to watch your kid on TV, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like, I seen his car just turn off on the track, or he wouldn't get when he was getting pushed off. It didn't start, so I didn't really know what was going on. And I'm waiting for that phone call or that text back. It makes it difficult.
And I think the other part is it's just watching Blake kind of, it's senior year, and he's just growing and doing other things that he wants to race. That's not really the issue, but life comes first, and you got to be a senior and be a kid. So it's just kind of being that mom too, is that senior piece.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, definitely. And he's got some of those things that he wants to, those pivotal moments your senior year. So that's what we are doing, and letting him do those things. So, you know, even going into the summer season, I know he wants to race with his friend. His friend has a 2-seater car, so he wants to go ride shotgun. I don't know if I'd do that in a race car, but yeah, so, you know, those are the things that he's looking forward to doing. Yes, he's going to stay in the car. You know, we'll see how many races he makes.
I think, I mean, obviously Brent's only 11, so we're just kind of plugging along 5th grade, doing homework during Monday through Friday. No dating, no work yet. I mean, he works on his race car, obviously, and then we go racing, so I don't have that balance or that juggle yet. So
yeah, it kind of falls naturally, you know. You just kind of fall into the routine, like, oh, this is what we got to do now. So yeah, it is. And both boys are in high school now, which is with COVID, it's kind of hard. You know, some of those things that we would normally have, those other seasons, like basketball season, we don't have this year. So we'll see. Blake may play baseball.
Yeah, that has been something we typically would do during the week, is run out to a basketball game, run out to practice, and those have been unfortunately taken, especially out of his senior year. Yeah, that has been adjusted. But
yeah, and basketball is his favorite sport. He plays baseball as well, but basketball was his number one sport. So yeah, he was very bummed out when they found out that they weren't playing this year.
So we are going into, let's see, points race 11. We have 2 left at Red Bluff. There is no break before we go into the summer season. There technically would be a break if we didn't practice. I don't know that we're not going to go to practice for sure, but then we go right into the summer season. We'll keep you guys updated to that schedule.
Be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on CSTV. Follow us at Rauscher Racing on Facebook page and Brent Rauscher Motorsports Facebook page.